What is going on, my broskies? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we have a showcase video with my man Zoro and Sanji, the brand new One Piece Day Sugo Fest exclusive character. Now, I know a lot of people are probably in the same boat as me in that this character as the One Piece Day celebratory unit isn't super hype, and I think it's a little bit of a poor decision and poor management of the release of characters, and considering the fact that, you know, we do have the Film Red event on the horizon, which is also going to introduce more Straw Hat characters, undoubtedly, it is a bit of an odd choice for them to go ahead and decide, alright, let's release the Summer Straw Hats, and then we'll have another batch of Straw Hats that come out with Film Red. It is very bizarre, but I digress. Let's talk about this Sugo Fest exclusive because there's nothing we can do about it now. They're in game, we have them, let's go ahead and discuss them. So, this unit, I think, in terms of the captain ability, I'm actually kind of a fan of it. So, the captain ability will boost Dex characters by 5.25, but then they boost Psi characters by 5.4. I think that's a little strange, that part in particular. Like, I don't understand why they just didn't boost both of the colors by the same value, because the way that it's kind of structured, in that you actually get more damage if you're up against an int character and you have this guy as your captain, and then you build a full Psi team. Really bizarre. But then they also give 1.25 health and 10% damage reduction, so they're very bulky. But then they make Psi and recovery slots have matching slot effects. Also a bit of an odd choice, because if you are running Psi characters, they already have the Psi slots matching, but if you run Dex characters, you get Psi slots, but then the Dex slots are not matching for the Psi characters, so they should have just made Dex Psi and recovery matching. But then again, it's actually kind of cool because it works with the new ship that came out with the whale sharks, because if you use that alongside them as the captain, you make recovery and tandem slots matching and Psi slots, so lots of matching slots is always good. But then when this character has a Psi slot, a recovery slot, or a Wano slot, and you tap with them, they increase the effectiveness of your color affinity by 0.25. I think that's also kind of cool, but I think it would be even cooler if, you know, this buffed attack orb affinity, like any buff that you have, and you tap with it, then it buffs it, like any buff, not just color affinity. I think that would have been pretty intriguing if they decided to go down that route. But all things considered, this is a good captain ability. It's not very complex, but it's good and will definitely see play in a lot of scenarios. Now remember, when you do use them as a captain, you'll get access to the super typing, and in order to activate it, you just need one of the other Straw Hats on your crew, and it is 100 times their attack in non-type damage to all enemies. It ignores all defensive effects, including base defense, so you can use it to get around high defense, low HP mobs, which we actually will do in one of the clips a little bit later. They also give -1 cooldown to Dex and Psi, and they give a 1.5 chain multiplicative boost to your team for 1 turn, which is equal one of the highest chain multiplicative boosts you can get. I know that Super Tandem Blackbeard also has that kind of ability with his Super Tandem effect, but this is cool. Like, the amount of damage that you get when you activate this Super Tandem just by itself is quite incredible. So, like, this on top of all the other buffs that you could potentially activate, I think that this character has a lot of potential in, like, Super Boss Kizunas moving forward, just because of that ability alone. Because you can, you know, partner that with chain boundary effects and chain boosts and everything. This has a lot of potential. And then you've got their special ability, of course, which will change block slots and type slots into Psi. And of course, they do have a crewmate ability that does make those slots matching to Dex and Psi characters, which is nice. So you get block and type slots into Psi. They get 10% HP reduction, so you can use kind of really unique supports because it is a damage dealing special. And then they also inflict increased damage taken to all enemies by 1.75 times for 2 turns. Again, another reason why this character has a lot of potential in super bosses moving forward. And then if you have 6 Dex or Psi characters on your crew, you get a 2.5 color affinity to those 2 types of Dex and Psi for 1 turn. Otherwise, it's only a 2.25 times color affinity boost. So just again, this is going to be an incredible unit to have when you need to hit really hard and you know you're going to have type advantage. However, if you don't have the type advantage, then yeah, this is going to be a pretty bad character to use. Typically, you would only really want to be using this guy if you know you're going to be up against int, or you know you're going to be up against quick enemies, because this character providing significant color affinity, increased damage taken. You've also got the chain multiplicative boost. Everything is really good with this unit. I just think that just the hype levels of this character are just not as high as what we were kind of hoping, because it is very basic. There's not a lot of new mechanics going on here, nothing really game breaking, and the fact that it is a Zoro and a Sanji character doesn't help the character at all. I think if you replaced the fact that it's a Zoro and Sanji with another character that, you know, doesn't really have that many characters in One Piece Treasure Cruise as Sugofest exclusives, this character probably would be a little bit higher on people's echelons in terms of how much they actually want to get this character, but because it is Zoro and Sanji, I think a lot of people are kind of done with that. But there is also upsides to it being Zoro and Sanji. Obviously, you get access to a wide variety of different supports that you can get access to, and remember, it is a damage dealing special, and you have Zoro, so you can have stuff like the Koshiro support to get rid of defensive effects, and also get a chain boosting effect, which also works in tandem with their super type ability, getting the chain multiplicative effect. So there is lots of really cool things to like about this unit, but understandably, a lot of people are going to be a little bit upset overall. Now, one thing that I've found whilst using this character so far is that there are a couple of good characters that just work generically good with this unit, and one of them is definitely V2 Frankie, the dual Frankie and Chopper character that came out recently, as the character themselves are both Psy and Dex, so you've got good synergy right there. Also, you've got Frankie and the V2 Frankie unit being a shooter and being a free spirit, so different classes than, you know, what you see with the Zoro and Sanji, but the fact that Zoro and Sanji, as well as the Frankie, are both free spirit or fighter characters means you can also go ahead and use the 8th anniversary Luffy with this team. So it's kind of interesting also, once again, just all of these Straw Hat characters coming out over the past few months being either Psy or being Dex characters, and they have good synergy with this Zoro and Sanji, and if you do have your 8th anniversary Luffy at a high enough super tandem effect, then, you know, you can use the Frankie and Zoro and Sanji to activate the super tandem ability to make your other free spirit characters hit incredibly hard. So that is just one kind of scenario that you could look for, and that's exactly what we do in this clip here against the worst generation. We're able to get through it incredibly quickly. This is a very, very fast team to get through it. Thanks once again to the Kizuna Blackbeard for having that amazing special ability to clear the enemy buff on the Rogue stage, so we can clear that in one turn and basically go from there. But overall, is this going to be a character that I'm going to use super often? And I mean, honestly, probably not. As I said a little earlier, I do think that this character is going to have a lot of potential moving forward in Kizuna Clash, because there's just a lot of unique abilities that you don't really see on a lot of characters in one, because, you know, this character has chain multiplicative effects, which are pretty uncommon overall, and also this character does inflict increased damage taken, which there aren't too many characters in the game that can inflict that, though this character doesn't inflict it through debuff protection, but, you know, if the enemy allows you to do it, then this is definitely a character that you can run. And not only that, they also provide color affinity, and so having color affinity, chain multiplicative effect, and also increased damage taken. They're a damage dealing special. They do get rid of block slots as well by themselves, and they also have access to amazing supports because it's both a Zoro and a Sanji character. So I think there is a lot of potential with this character moving forward, but it really also comes down to what characters get cooldown, what characters are boosted for what events, you know, just other characters that release in the future all can determine how useful this character is going to be. But if you do look at this character in a vacuum and determine, is this character good or not, you'd probably have to say yes, this character is a good unit. However, is this a character that you need to clear a lot of content? No, there's definitely a lot of other characters that I would suggest and definitely would prefer to own over Zoro and Sanji. Characters that are more valuable, characters that, you know, have better synergies with a lot more characters in the game. But saying that, this is an impressive character, this character is very strong, and I think this character is going to see a lot of play moving forward, probably in Kizuna Clash related content. But that's going to wrap it up from me. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, give my thoughts and opinions on it, and get to see some really cool kind of content that you get to use this guy with, absolutely blowing through some of this content. But that's going to wrap it up for me. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, then make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
アンパイレーツに任
地獄なら何度も言ってきた。優勢だ。